Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am Big D, Derek Thomas, down in Baton Rouge, and I have on with me the founder of Black College Experience up in Atlanta, Georgia, tired from her Celebration Bowl experience, the one and only Queen Diva Kells. What's going on?
Whew, it's been a long weekend. It's been Celebration Bowl. It's been birthday, and here I am sick. But We're going to push through. We're going to push through this show. We have a lot of interesting stuff that happened. Hopefully your frat brother will call in because I'm pretty sure he was spot on with his prediction as to what happened with the Celebration Bowl. Really, really good prediction. I think we all pretty much said that, A&T would win, but didn't really expect it how it did. But we'll go off and kick this. We do have coming on closer in the second part of the show. Our guest will be assistant coach, women's basketball coach from Central State, Louis Sean. So, we're going to have him on. But let's go ahead and hop straight into this. Now, looks like the first thing we were asking about was, were HBCUs left out of the voter registration in Alabama?
Right.
What is that all about?
Okay, well, of course, we're not normally political on Black College Experience, but
correct.
This kind of it was kind of weird how I saw some HBCUs were mentioned in this story. Of course, we all know the high-profile Senate race in Alabama between Doug Jones and Roy Moore. Doug Jones pulled that out, but there was a Republican who wanted to have posters for Alabama's coach Nick Saban and Auburn's coach Gus Malzahn. But, he did not have any HBCU posters for voter registrations. So the NCAA took merit to task for not including Alabama A&M or Alabama State in the campaign. Because there are more HBCUs in Alabama, than those two. But, this politician only wanted to include Alabama, University of Alabama, and Auburn, and did not include, the two HBCUs. So when he was questioned about it, he was like, well, no more posters are going to be made. I mean, to me, it looks like he was trying to, not push voter registration on HBCU campuses. I'm pretty sure voter registrations happen on HBCU campuses, but this Republican was just ignoring the HBCU campuses. Because we know across the HBCU landscape, there are HBCU students of differing political affiliations. You have them as Democrats, you have them as Republicans, Green Party, Tea Party, Independent, or whatever they choose they want to be. But this politician was just ignoring our HBCUs altogether, and he was taking a task, and the NCAA blocks Alabama Secretary of State from giving out voter registration posters featuring Nick Saban and Gus Malzahn. And he was questioned on why he left out HBCUs. And I just thought that was like, okay, well, we're glad that Doug Jones won, but if you're trying to get voters registered, you shouldn't just be going for the two largest PWIs in the state. You should be trying to get voters registration at every college, not just at large PWI to try and, push for a specific candidate to get elected. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, here in this moment, we can look across the board, and for years, African American women have been securing the vote. 98% of African American women are securing the vote in Alabama on the Democratic side. So African American women are doing that. And sometimes we get so caught up in sports, and what might have been a joke to him is pretty offensive to somebody else, because on the flip side, you have Alabama A&M, Alabama State, you have Miles, you have Tuskegee. You have so many schools that are in Alabama that you also need to push. And for one, Tuskegee is very rich in that tradition. So if you're going to push voter registration, you need to push that on all campuses. And if you're going to use it tactfully to push it through sports, then you need to push it through all mediums. You need to push it through every school. Don't just push it through Alabama or Auburn. I mean, if that was some type of joke, it's really not funny because you're really not getting your word out. You're really not getting the point out. The message isn't get out. The point is to get people to register to vote. And if someone sees something as offensive as that, then if someone questions him about it, then that lets you know what his intent was.
Right.
So I really believe that, if that was his whole intention was to get the message out, he didn't go about it the right way. Sure, you can tell people to go to Alabama or Auburn. I'm not knocking that. But just make sure you don't leave out Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Tuskegee, Miles. Make sure you don't leave out the other schools that need to also hear about voter registration, because once again, it's the African-American female that is pushing that vote the hardest when it comes to Alabama.
Well, and here's a quote, a courtesy of HBCU Digest from NCAA President Bernard Simelton. You cannot go in here and promote Alabama and Auburn, instructed Bernard Simelton, president of the Alabama State Conference of the NAACP. I'm not promoting the coaches or the universities, Merrill, a Republican, replied. I'm promoting voter registration. Now, here's what Simelton got him by asking Merrill why representatives from Alabama A&M in Huntsville or Alabama State in Montgomery, both traditionally black schools, were not featured on the promotion posters. Where is Alabama A&M and where is Alabama State? I'm asking you a question, Simelton continues. Merrill then said there won't be any additional posters made this year. I won't produce posters for every college and university in this state. But if you're trying to get your candidate elected, you should push voter registration at every college if you're trying to sign up college students, because we know there are black Republicans across the country. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of black Republicans at HBCUs, but we could see what this guy was doing. He was trying to raise the dominant culture vote, for at PWIs, so that's my opinion. I mean, how can you leave out HBCUs when there are more HBCUs, than, PWIs? But I understand Alabama and Auburn are large universities. Probably together, those two universities have more students than the HBCUs combined. But it doesn't matter. You don't leave out potential voters. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. If you want to get the message out again, you push that to every student, every campus, because you have people that need to register on every campus, be it African Americans, be it Caucasian, does not matter the race. You got people that need to register all together. So I think it's very tacky and very distasteful if that's the message. And then once he's questioned up on it, then it's questionable why he even did it in the first place. So it was like what he did, it was almost like a failure as to what he did. So, But let's go over here. As we all know, Omarosa Manigault, she's not one of America's favorite people in the African American community. She really isn't. She is just who she is. She comes out of HBCUs. And the funny thing about it, two HBCUs. The funny thing is that, we really do. We have to fight too hard to get a seat at the table. We do. And this is our representation. And now that Omarosa has decided to resign and leave the White House in January, where does that leave as the White House HBCU liaison? What do you think about her as being, because she's not vocal enough for HBCU. So what do you think in this case?
Well, she's been on the news talking about her exit, and I heard her say she's fighting for her people. And I was thinking to myself, what people? What people is she talking about? I know she was the liaison for HBCUs and the communications for Trump's White House or whatever, but I never really heard her stand on the front lines talking about initiatives that could help HBCUs or help African Americans as a whole. I think she could have used her platform better, but I didn't think she was going to last long in the White House myself anyway. No one seems to be lasting long in this White House. I think, and there have been memes created talking about, do we want to take Omarosa back? Did you see any of those?
I did. No, she can't come to the cookout. No, the delegation has voted you out. No, ma'am.
I think she's going to try and change her. I guess you can say change her platform. She has no choice now. She says she's still going to represent Donald Trump or support Donald Trump, but she now says she's trying to do what's best for her people. I guess we'll see how things go. Her official date of separation is January 20th, and Robin Roberts threw some shade at her, saying that she's probably going to sell that story, not going to just provide it just because it's the right thing to do. But I guess we'll see what happens with Miss Omarosa Manigault, a two-time HBCU graduate. Who knows? Maybe this will wake her up and let her know that, hey, maybe she's been fighting on the wrong side or not being as vocal as she could.
Exactly.
To, do more for HBCUs. I mean, sometimes you got to go fight on the wrong side to get on the right side. So maybe this will wake her up, Kels.
And I think one of the things with Omarosa, is that, it's alleged that she was fired, but she said she speaks of resignation. We really don't know. But the thing is that what gets me is when you talk about, when I leave the White House, I basically have a tell-all. I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. I have a story that I'm going to talk about. So as I talk about the story, it's so funny because now you want to address the issue. You want to talk about the story. You want to have this whole conversation about tweets and things that bothered you. But these are things that should have, bothered you before. You have not been vocal in either administration that you've been in. And we can all agree that this administration that you're in right now is probably one of the worst. It's racial and it's so many different things. Now, if you're there speaking up on the behalf of HBCUs, I can understand. But you're not being vocal for anything towards the HBCU. You're there on the means of the basis of this is your job and that's what you're going to do. So we're going to see what happens after. I really do believe that this is going to be a tell-all, sale type book type thing, like you're trying to get a book deal.
I agree. So we'll see. What I want to talk about next is the HBCU leadership carousel. We know we got a coaching carousel going on, but there have been quite a few shakeups in the past couple of years at HBCUs also. And of course, to keep something vibrant and viable and keep the gears working, you have to have steady leadership. This quote that was made by Dr. Larry Robinson, all these interims, every year I come back to the Florida Classic, and y'all, Bethune-Cookman got another interim. The least y'all can do, if y'all going to keep naming all these interims, is name the same person. And that's FAMU interim president Dr. Larry Robinson talking about FAMU's strong leadership, because he's always named the interim when they're bringing in the president, named the interim for the third time this year. We've seen Jackson State change presidents. We've seen my alma mater change presidents. I think there was, it says here, 16 institutions as of December 13th, 18 to 16 universities. Alabama State, Albany State, resigned, Benedict College, so many. If you want to check that article out, check it out on HBU Digest. But, Kels, what do you think we need to do to keep our leadership viable? I mean, we have money issues at HBCUs, people not doing things right. What do you think we need to do to, keep our HBCUs viable and producing the fruit? Like me and you. I mean, the next people who are going to be coming out trying to find their niche in the world, from HBCUs.
And the thing is that it's so hard when you look at it, because we know that the financial aspect is the foundation. We know that when it comes to finances, this is across the board, be it scholarships, be it sports, be it giving back as far as alumni it's very hard. And in hindsight, we're all the same. We're all human. So all it takes is one time for somebody to mismanage money, and our attitudes go straight out the door. And one of the things that I've learned to deal with is, we have to continue to fight. We have to keep it going no matter what happens. We know there's going to be some negative things. We have to look forward to the positive things, and we can't harp on the negative things. So we just have to continue to fight. We have to continue to give back, and we have to continue to share the story and tell people about the HBCUs so we can continue to send people there so they can continue to produce, because I know it's always going to be an issue when it comes to finance.
Right. Definitely. And, when you have turnover like this at the top level, and then, of course,
Correct.
you're going to have turnover from bottom up, top to bottom, because every president's going to want to bring in their own people.
Correct.
It doesn't allow you to, have, I guess you can say, continuity changing like this, because it's going to affect the university. It's going to affect everything that the university does, from, academics to athletics to fundraising, everything. So, it's time, we try to get some stability with our leadership. Or if a leader wants to leave, like Dr. Baum, how he left Jackson State, he named someone that was very capable, and now he's our president at Mississippi Valley State University. But you still want to have quality leadership. You want to have ethical leadership, and I think that's something that we have been lacking at our HBCUs, with so many university presidents resigning under fire when it comes to financial matters. Even in our conference, we're having this issue with Dewar Sharp resigning due to financial issues. I mean, we're already looked at as the little brother to the PWI or the FBS conferences. We have to be better than them. We have to say, what, we're gonna have stellar management. We're not gonna have these problems. We're not gonna have people taking money. We're not gonna have people mismanaging funds. I think that's something that we need to clean up.
Correct.
So, the next thing I wanted to speak on, Kels, before we jump into some
Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a commercial break, because I think he's going to be calling in literally in probably 2 minutes, or probably on now. So, and I know he's still in the process because they're traveling and everything. So let's go ahead and take a commercial break, and we're going to go ahead and bring him on.
All right. Well, we'll be right back in 31 seconds with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more Black College Experience, and I think Kels, our guest for this evening, is on. So I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our guest. You found him, you secured him, you introduce him.
All right, so now tonight we do have Coach Lewis Shine. He is the assistant coach again of the ladies women's basketball over at Central State. For everyone that does not know, they are the reigning champs right now. So they're the reigning SIAC champs out there in the division. Coach Lewis is a Chicago native, but also called Lima, Ohio, basically his home. Of course, he has stints across the border. He also played, he got his education at Miami University. But I'm not going to harp on what his background is. I'm going to let him tell y'all what he does. So without further ado, Coach.
How's it going?
How you doing, Coach Shine?
How are you?
Good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, most definitely. We're glad to have you on. So I'm gonna start off first because I read your bio. I saw you play basketball in high school, played in college, and you played overseas. I want to ask you about your stint here in Baton Rouge. What year were you playing semi-pro in Baton Rouge?
I was down there in 2004, 2005. There was a team down there called the Louisiana Cajun Pelicans. And so we came down there for one season. We actually were over in the area where the Mall of Louisiana is, not too far from LSU. And so we were down there, man. It was a good time. And that team was discontinued because I believe Katrina happened right after that.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was a good time. You know, I missed the boot. I got to get down there.
Yeah, 'cause that's where I am. I'm in Baton Rouge. That's where I live now, and that's where Kels spent her undergraduate years over there at that other school called the Jaguars.
Oh yeah, we went to Southern a few times.
So, but also I also see that you own your own team and did fairly well as far as sending players to upper level squads. Tell us about how you came to start your own team, and how is that team still operating with you now, coaching and things of that nature with that squad?
Well, it definitely came out of my love for basketball. You know, being an athlete, most athletes know that it's hard to step away. You know, as you get older, you can't play forever. So you do try to do anything that you can to kind of be around the game. And so at the time, I actually had an opportunity to be a general manager of a team that was actually in Lima, Ohio. Started as a PR and marketing director. Next year was a general manager. And then that team was discontinued. That team actually moved. And so at the time, I had just had a lot of involvement. I was helping a lot of players. And I didn't want there not to be a team in that area. So I actually started my own team. And that's how it happened, and ended up owning that team for 3 years. We were able to help about 18 players get overseas and continue their basketball career, which a lot of them are still playing over in Spain, Nicaragua, South America. They're all over Canada. And so it was just really exciting to be able to do that. I loved every bit of it. Not only on the court basketball stuff, but game day operations, management, administration type stuff. I mean, it was just a lot of fun.
Right. So is this your first HBCU coaching position?
This is my very first HBCU coaching position.
So how you like it? How you loving coaching at HBCU?
It's very different and it's fun. I think one of the biggest things that I love about it is game day atmospheres. Of course, I didn't play at a HBCU. I believe my first time actually going to an HBCU campus was when I went to Southern University, a basketball game when I lived in Baton Rouge. And the atmosphere is amazing. I mean, it's just one of those atmospheres that any athlete loves to be a part of. You got the band, you got the fans. I mean, it's just a different experience. So at Central State, we have a very, very great atmosphere in terms of our game day. So that's one of the things that, we really give credit to in terms of just our success. I mean, game days are amazing.
Right. And is this your first time coaching women's basketball?
My very first time coaching women's.
Right.
Never thought I would coach women's, but it's been a great experience.
Well, I'm asking you that question there because Kels knows I'm in women's basketball groupie. I love women's basketball. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I watch men's basketball. You're not going to have the dunks and stuff like you have in women's basketball. In men's basketball, depending on the level. If you got somebody like Sylvia Fowles, yeah, she going to dunk it. Or Candace Parker, if she gets a breakaway, she going to dunk it. I just love the fundamental aspect of women's basketball. They're actually, looking at ways to break you down, not just go up and dunk. They're gonna shoot your eye. If you leave them up, they'll shoot your eyes out. I mean,
right.
I just love the aspect of women's basketball because I think it's more fundamentally sound as far as offensively and defensively than men's basketball. I think on the men's side, of course, more athletic, but just seeing the women play and how they grind and compete and how they just shoot the cover off their ball and just hustle. I just think that's awesome, and it's good to see men coaching women. And I'm pretty sure soon we'll probably have a woman coaching a men's college basketball team. We already have a lady coaching in the pros. So, I mean, I just think that's awesome that you're getting the chance to, bestow your knowledge on these young ladies, because you coached men and played with men all your life. Now you're getting a chance to, bestow your knowledge with women. Now, with you still being a fairly young coach, do you get out there and demonstrate with your players?
Definitely. Practices, I mean, I'm hands-on, active, might hop in some drills just to show them some things. Might even go against them, in different types of drills where it involves a defender, things like that. I'm the kind of coach that I want to do anything I can to help my ladies get better. So I get out there, man, and it's a lot of fun, especially when we do individual work, before practice, during the day and stuff like that. That's when I really get a chance to kind of drill in, and we work on specifics, whether that's shooting technique, changing shots, ball handling, just all the smaller details that will play into the game days, or the practices. We work on the smaller things so that when we get to the bigger picture things, they're fine-tuned and ready to go.
Man, I'm sure those ladies are lucky to have you, because you sound like you're going to improve their technical skills of the game. Now, I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let Kels take over, because I done been monopolizing most of the interview time, so I'm going to shut up and let Kels do her thing. Go ahead, Kels.
That's totally fine. So now, Coach, you talk about how you own the team. That's not something that, because you make it sound so easy. You make it sound like you just went in the grocery store, picked up some items, checked out, and walked out the door. That's how easy you make it sound. How did you come about and say, hey, I want to own a team. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these steps to actually go about owning a team?
Well, and it's funny because you're not the only one that says that. I mean, it's fun to me, so that's why it's not. Most of it wasn't like work. There's definitely work involved.
Right.
Right. So when the other team left, I just started looking into it. I started studying NBA teams. I started studying D-League teams, and I just started dreaming. I believe it was just at a point in my life where I was just really looking for the next thing, and so I believe I was in a church service, and the pastor was talking about dreaming again. And so after that was post-playing days, so it's like, okay, let's dream the next dream. Because my playing days, my dream was to play in the NBA. So now I'm looking for another dream, and I'm like, okay. So I just started looking into it, and I started looking into owners and how do they do things. And, I've always looked up to Magic Johnson with his ownership and different teams and stuff like that. And so it just became something where I was like, you know what, the other teams left, but what if I could start my own team and just build this thing? And I knew with the minor league space, you have some minor leagues that are credible. There's some that maybe are at a lower level than some, and I just knew I wanted to go as high as I could, because when you deal with players and their overseas resumes and things like that, when they play in particular leagues or when they play for particular teams, the owners overseas, they look at that, and so they're going to judge a player's resume based on the level that they're at. So I really wanted to be at the top, so I actually made a call to the NBA D-League office, which is a G League now, and I just asked them, if I started a minor league in this particular a team in this particular league, what are the possibilities that I can become a D-League team one day right here in Lima, Ohio? And so they said it's very possible. They told me the things that they would look for. They told me the revenue that it would cost, the type of net worth that, a person or a group would have to have. But it was possible. So that was kind of all I needed to hear, that it was possible. And so I just went to work on it. And I started researching my city, researching like from way back when there was pro teams there, the foundations of the city, like oil and trains, which is very popular there, the city colors. So I started doing all of that. And so I started the branding process, got a logo created, started from the ground up, and it just started building. Started getting the word out there, and before you know it, I had players there at a venue, had jerseys, had logo, had website, and that's kind of how it came about. I mean, and that's like my 5-minute version, but it took months on top of months, and that's kind of how it happened. Just as a small version, short version.
Yeah. I said because you make it sound like it was, you make it sound easy. But I guess if it's something that you want to do, and I totally understand it's something that you love and the passion was there, I get it. So I guess that would only make sense. So now you talk about the HBCU experience because this is your first stint as an HBCU coach. Derek and I both come out of the SWAC, of course, as you heard him hatingly mention that I graduated from Southern and he graduated from Valley. So, of course, there's some hate there, but there is a full game day experience when it comes to HBCUs in sports, and you will get the overall experience. You do get the fans, you get the band, you get the 100% overall when it comes to it. But take us back to last year. You are a championship winning team. Take us back to last year. How do you go about recruiting your girls for your team?
Well, recruiting comes in so many forms. I mean, I get tons of emails a day, just from coaches, from individuals that you may know, may not know, that say, hey, we got this girl, you might want to check this girl out. So we get a lot of referrals. So that's one form. Another form is we actually go out in the field. So we're going to games, we're going to JUCO games, we're going to high school games. Summertime's real big because we're going to a lot of different tournaments where there's AAU tournaments. One of my favorite experiences this past summer was going to Louisville to the Run for Roses tournament, where there's like 64 courts and there's hundreds of teams. And so you get to sift through talent and just kind of find who you can find. And then you start contacting and recruiting girls. And another way is girls that are in JUCO. Sometimes they need places to go after their 2 years have expired. And so, one of the things we did this past summer is we contacted every JUCO in the country, like every single JUCO in the country, just trying to see who was out there. And so after that, you're going to have your D1s. They're going to, have most of their picking because they're D1s. And then you're going to have those players that are left. But then you're going to have those players that slip through the cracks that could have went D1, but, based on how you're able to sell your university, and then pull out the perks and present it to them, you can sometimes get some of those top players that could have went somewhere else, but because, you recruited them hard and, really showed them not only what they could do for you, but what you can do for them in terms of your education, in terms of helping them become a better person. And then ultimately, if they do want to pursue some kind of career, success rate thereof, and then also some of them want to play pro ball. So I tell my girls, hey, I want to help you get there if you want to go there. So, we really lay it out, and that's just the process right there of just, there's multiple processes of getting girls to our university.
Okay. Do you have like a certain area? Like, do you have like a certain way you do recruit? Because like you said, it's ways. And I mean, I know it could be various ways, but do you have like a certain way that you recruit? You'll be like, okay, I'm going to Florida, or I'm going to these schools that are closer to the school. I'm going to the South, or maybe I want to go to the East Coast. Do you have like a certain system in place as far as recruiting?
Well, with being in the Midwest, I mean, if you're, anything about college, basketball and recruiting in the Midwest, people come from all over the country. They come here to recruit. When we go to tournaments in Columbus, Ohio, when I go home in Chicago to different games and stuff, there's schools from California, from New York, Florida. They're here. They're in Ohio at our state tournaments, So we have a wealth of basketball talent right there in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. And so, for me, that's one of our main focuses there. We got a few girls, right out our back door in Columbus, Ohio. And, one of the reasons, we go there is because, we've had girls come from those same areas that, maybe even from some of the same coaches that they already have that championship pedigree within them, and so, with some of their girls coming here already experiencing championships, different things like that, and moving on, they can see the success rate. So, it's always sometimes relationships, have relationships with certain coaches, whether it's JUCO, we have a lot of relationships with JUCO coaches, certain high schools. We tend to tap into those areas first to see what's there. When we go outside of those areas, then we begin to look at, other places. We've had girls from New York. A girl from New York graduated last year. Chicago, we have a girl on our team this year from Trinidad. So, going outside of our norm, it really is no barrier in terms of where we will look to find somebody. In the end, it just has to make sense in terms of, school, financial aid, if they're comfortable being away from home, that far of a distance, just those things. As long as all those things can line up, we can get a girl from anywhere. And I don't mind looking anywhere to find somebody.
Okay. Now, Coach, again, let's go. I'm going to go back again. Last year, you had this team that actually wins out the championship. And obviously, of course, I saw the post, and I know how happy you were. Take us back to last season and how y'all actually worked up to that point. Toughest opponents. Tell us about last season and how you got to that point when you actually win the championship.
All right, so I actually came mid-season. That's when I was hired. So when I came in, we had a nice little winning streak already going. When I came in, I just tried to do whatever I could to be the best assistant coach possible to my head coach, and just really work the girls. We tried to pull out every single detail, whether that was in individuals, whether that was some nutrition things, getting their water in them, getting their sleep. We just worked hard. Took every single game, tried to dissect it. One of my things that I had to do was I had to break down film. I got, help with practices. I did all the individuals. And then on game day, I presented, my notes and different things. There's a player we're playing there left-handed. She can't dribble right. Just different things like that. I love dissecting teams. And so we did that, from when I got there. There was a lot of great things going on, but when I got there, those are the things I was over. And we just tried to take game by game and do whatever we could to sift the team apart and beat them. And we didn't try to just beat them. We tried to beat them bad, We had some tight games, but we just pushed hard. I mean, it was, I guess the execution of it isn't as simple, but just the preparation. We just did what we did, and went through the regular season. I can remember the particular game that we won that actually clinched the Western Division Championship. And so after that, we made that goal. We wanted to get into the tournament because one of the big things for us is just to go to the NCAA tournament. So we got into the tournament, got the first round, bye because we were number one seed. Had a couple great games there, and then we got into the championship game, which, if we would have won that, we would have took it to the NCAA tournament. But we fell short by 5 points, but that's our goal this year is to get that far. But last year we just pushed for it, and there were some things that happened in school history that have never happened. I mean, we finished number 6 in the country in steals. As of last week, we were number 1 in NCAA Division II in steals. So we're starting to exceed some goals, up to this point. We had the first championship in school history since becoming an NCAA institution. Our head coach, she got her 100th win. There were just a lot of great things, and we put in hard work for it. I always tell people the formula for hard, for championships, you just got to work hard. You got to pay the price for it, and the price never goes on sale. If you want a certain thing and it costs a certain price, you got to pay that price. And we just put in the work. And we're just happy and excited that we had a team of girls that were willing to, buy in to what we were talking about and really push hard.
Okay,
Right.
Jared.
Well, talk to us about this year's team and how the season has been going so far this year.
It's been a good season so far. We actually just came off of an 8-game winning streak. We happened to drop a game yesterday by 3 points to Clark Atlanta. We fought hard in that game. Starting point guard went down with an ankle injury, but she's going to be just fine. So we're 9-3 right now. We're 4-1 in our conference, so we're still sitting at first place in the West Division. We've been working hard. We started back in the summer where girls had our summer workouts. We recruited hard. We feel like we got some pieces in additions to our team that could even improve us on the team we had last year. And we've just been putting the pedal to the metal. We got some particular goals that we set out for the team. We not only want to repeat as champions, but we want to go further. And so we've been, all along up into the season, just putting things in place so that we can reach those goals. And, it's been going real well. We, like I said, we've saw ourselves at the top 10 in several categories in Division II. Like I say, last week, we were number 1 in Division II in steals. We've top 5 in rebounds. We're top 10 in turnovers forced. So this is a lot of good things that we're starting to see fruits of, just because we've just been working hard. So, like I said, we're at 9-3 now. We're going into our break. But as we come back, we're in the final stretch, because it's going to be the end of February. We'll be right back in the tournament again. So, it's been going really good. We've had good practices, just good individual sessions. And then we could see our team, coming around. First couple games, we dropped a couple. But since then, we've been on a streak and just been working hard, and you can see the team camaraderie just coming together.
Right. So we see your dominance in your conference in the SIAC. But what do you think about competing against women's teams in the SWAC, the MEAC, the CIAA, and other independent HBCU squads? Would you like to play some of those teams? And do you think your team could hang with some of those schools?
Well, we actually played, we had a chance to, every season we play outside of our conference a little bit. This year we played 2 CIAA teams, and we actually won against both of them. But those are Division II teams. When you step up to Division I, it's a whole different monster. You're dealing with, a higher caliber competition, things like that. Of course, I believe that in any game we can hang with anybody. But looking at those teams, you're dealing with taller players, more athletic players, schools that have 13 plus scholarships to where they can get the, top players. And so, I would definitely love, because I'm always up for a challenge. I would definitely love to be able to have some of those teams, the SWAC. We were trying to get Grambling on the schedule here coming up in the next few years. Definitely love to have those kind of games on our schedule so that, more than anything, it can be a test for our girls to show us where we are so that when we get back into our conference play and into our division play, it can help us to sharpen us up to get ready for the teams in our conference.
Right. I mean, like I said, I did pull up your schedule, and yeah, you all did put a whooping on St. Aug's and Winston-Salem State. You defeated those Division II teams, but I guess since I'm still new to HBCU, covering HBCU sports, I just feel like, propose more athletic. But in some cases, some of the players at these different HBCUs played against different players at Division I schools, and they beat them or were able to compete with them. So I understand, the difference in division, but I just would like to see more HBCUs play each other like that, because I think it's good competition to, play other HBCU that you wouldn't necessarily play. I would love to see, because, Grambling, I think Grambling were the SWAC regular season champs last year, right, Kels? I think they were. So it would be good to see you all play a championship level squad like the Grambling women's team, because I think they were the regular season champs. Grand Fam Post trophies, they got so many trophies. It's kind of hard to keep up with them. You know what I mean? But I like your squad. I looked at your record, looked at your girls. I mean, you all have some. I looked at some of your video. I found some videos online. It just seems like you all do have athletic team, and hopefully you can get the young lady that was injured back, because she's your floor general. And of course, when you don't have your floor general, the next man up, next lady up mentality has to be implemented. But I'm pretty sure she's ready to get back on that court. And like you said, you lost to Clark. They're sitting at number 1 in the East. So it looks like, if you all keep winning, it could be another collision between yourselves and Clark. Let me look at y'all. I don't think you all play them anymore the rest of the year. I don't see them on the schedule. No, you all don't. You all don't play
Yeah.
Clark anymore for the rest of the year. So the next time you will be playing them would be in the tournament or probably the championship game. So I'm pretty sure your girls are going to want to get that revenge because it was a close game, an 85-81 loss to snap your win streak. But of course, you can't win them all. But I'm pretty sure you and you talk to the ladies and let them know like, hey, we're getting another shot at this Clark team. Just do what we got to do, and and get another shot at them and show them that, hey, you all only beat us because our point guard got hurt. So, but of course we know injuries are a part of the game. But I just like the way you all have this team going. It's good to see that you motivate your ladies. You teach them fundamentals. Like I said, that's one reason why I like watching women's basketball, because of the fundamentals that the young ladies show on the court. They're not just trying to dunk it. They're actually, trying to dribble, pass, or break down a defense, running offensive sets. I mean, that's one reason why I like women's basketball. Kels?
Right.
Okay, so we know you're coming in now. Tomorrow you're playing Morehouse, correct?
Yeah, our men actually played Morehouse, so we'll be there to support them.
Okay, so now moving forward, are there any opponents that you would consider tough that you really? Because some of our opponents we would consider a little tougher than others. Are there any opponents that you really consider? And I know everybody looks at like, okay, every opponent can be tough, but are there any opponents that you would consider tougher than the others? And then what would you expect? What would you do to change those things? Because of course, I'm assuming every game is different. You change up every game in a different way. So are there any opponents that you would look at as being tougher on your schedule?
Yeah, we actually have two of our toughest games of the season coming up, December 30th and January 1st. On the 30th, we play Claflin. We beat Claflin in the semifinals last year's tournament, so, we're already suspecting that that's just going to be a barn burner in terms of just, they're coming after us. They're coming for some revenge. So, we definitely got to prepare for that game. And then Benedict, we played them on the first. They put us out of the tournament to win the championship, the SEAC tournament championship, and they went to the NCAA tournament. So they stopped us by 5 points, so we're trying to come back at them. So those are like two of the biggest games. And, the good thing about these two games that, it kind of stands above everything else is the fact that we play them both at home. So we'll have our home feel, our atmosphere, our familiarity. We have all that going in our favor. We just have to take advantage of that, and hopefully we can pull off both of these wins. But anything that we would do different, of course, we're going to look back at some film just to see, the familiar, players that they may still have, and, just trying to execute our game plan the best we can. Of course, with our new personnel and us having about several new girls on the team, that's going to help us in certain ways because, like I said, with our recruiting from last year, we feel like we got a little better, than last year's team. And not to take anything away from that team, but, you try to get better every year. So we want to be able to use that to our advantage as well and just try to pull these wins off.
Right. And we're going to be following you closely. And, Coach Shine, we want to thank you for calling in to be a part of the Black College Experience. You are now family. So now you do not need an invitation. You don't have to be a confirmed guest to call in and just say, hey, I'm going to call in, check with y'all, let us know how we're doing over here in the SIAC. Or if some of your players want to listen and call in and chime in, we welcome that. Whenever we have someone on from an HBCU as a guest, we want to let you know that you're family now. Your families, your players are family. So, let them know, hey, if they want to call in and talk about, a game or just talk to us about how they feel their season is going. I mean, we welcome that. That's why we're here. We're here to give our HBCU athletes a platform to so they can eventually be heard or just express, it's going to prepare them for whenever they do get in the pros for interviews. It'll help them be able to talk. It'll help them be, I can hear myself on a recorded broadcast on the internet, it'll do something for them. It'll give them a little confidence. So, you're family now. We want to thank you for calling in, and we hope that you'll continue to listen, call in, or just listen archive and just keep in touch with us.
Will do, man. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Appreciate this opportunity. Appreciate you guys showing Central State University, Central State Lady Marauders love, and myself as well. And we're just grateful, man. So thanks for inviting us to be a part of the family, and we'll definitely stay connected and definitely be following you guys. I'm on the page often and liking you guys and stuff like that, man. So I love to follow you guys and check up on you guys and see what you guys are up to as well.
Right. So,
and thank you much. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to definitely try to check in with you as the basketball season proceeds on. And, whether you win the title again or lose, we want you to come on and just, talk to us how the season went. So, we'll be glad to have you back.
Appreciate that, guys.
Thank you, Coach. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, definitely. I'll see you tomorrow at the game. Go Marauders.
Go Marauders. Good night, Coach.
All right, good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Kels, interesting, well-spoken man. I love his background. He has had his hands on the basketball operation from top to bottom. He's owned it. He's coached it. He's ran it. So I think Central State has hired an awesome basketball mind to help them continue their success on the women's basketball team. So, Kels, we got about maybe 10 to 15 minutes left in tonight's show. We want to talk about what happened yesterday at the Celebration Bowl. We all know who was playing in this game. It was for all of the marbles for the HBCU Black College National Championship between the SWACs, our home team, our home conference, Grambling State Tigers versus the MEAC, North Carolina A&T Aggies. A lot of noise talked for the past 2 weeks, and these two teams settled it on the field, Kels.
They did. It was a really, the game time was at 12 o'clock. This was a really anticipated game. Going into this game, you have the Aggies that are going in undefeated 12-0. You also have a Grambling team that hasn't lost a conference game in 3 years. So this is a really highly anticipated game. Five against Broadway. But like I said last week, if Broadway plays Broadway football, they would win. And as we can see, 21-14 was the final. This is a really good thing. The takeaways from this game, first and foremost, North Carolina A&T fans showed up. And when I say they showed up, you had the oldest of the old Aggies. You had the youngest of the young Aggies. You had Aggies from everywhere, from 1960 on down. You had so many Aggies in the building. It was just ridiculous. But takeaways from this game, really nice environment. Kincaid really had a really good game. In hindsight, they really couldn't contain him because Kincaid's got to put the game on his back. They really could not contain him as much. But Marquez, 12 rushing yards. Mr. Excitement was shut down yesterday. He was completely shut down yesterday. No
excitement from Mr. Excitement. Like you said, Devontae, basically was the offense yesterday. And last week when we were talking about this game, I did say the North Carolina A&T defense would have a say in how the Grambling offense performed. And, both basically it was a defensive game. Only 35 points put up between both teams. And, I was hoping my line brother could have called in, PP, because he guessed or he predicted what the score would be, a 21-14 victory by North Carolina A&T. Leading stats for both teams, Devontae Kincaid threw for 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also ran for 93 yards. And, of course, Marquez Carter ran for 12 yards. And Lindemian Brooks ran for 6 yards, but he had a costly fumble that kind of, changed the momentum that allowed North Carolina A&T to, go in for the winning score. Turnovers were the name of this game. Even though Grambling picked off Lamar Raynard twice, he threw for 225 yards and 1 touchdown. Markel Cartwright was the spark plug, looking like Tariq Cohen running through Grambling's defense, stutter stepping, running over people. Prayers to Rockwell, Grambling's defensive back that tried to tackle Cartwright. Had his head lowered, but he was okay. Prayers to him. Glad he was not seriously injured. We did not want to see that happen, but Cartwright had an awesome game. Elijah Bell had 95 yards on 10 catches, and Cartwright also had a touchdown through the air. He caught 3 passes for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. But the defenses ruled the day. I mean, 35 points in an HBCU championship game. I mean, yeah, it was a low-scoring game last year, but I did expect more points, but I just figured the defenses would take over, and that's what happened because, we had a scoreless first quarter, as the two teams, felt each other out, and when I caught the game, North Carolina A&T was winning, and I was like, wow, Grambling can't move the ball, like the Aggie defense is just stingy. I've never seen another HBCU squad be able to stuff Grambling's run like that, Kels.
They and the thing is that they didn't even play. They weren't even playing a blowout football game. As I stated before, they're not going to blow you out. They're going to play long, slow. They're going to beat you in the end. And that's exactly what they did. And they were just playing simple, just solid football. And I think we can all agree that Coach Broadway is the man at this point. He's the man. He's the coach.
I agree with you. I mean, he's won national championships in the SWAC. He's won national championships in the MEAC. And he is the king right now of HBCU football. And he has built up North Carolina A&T into a juggernaut. Raynard and Cartwright are going to be back. You have the reigning MEAC Offensive Player of the Year coming back after winning a national championship. Kind of almost like the Grambling situation. You brought Carter and Kincaid back. Cartwright and Maynard are both going to be back for the Aggies. And, to lose a spark plug of a running back like Tariq Cohen, who was the focal point of that offense, and to come back and say, Tariq Cohen go to the NFL, no problem. We still going to run the table in the MEAC and defeat the SWAC champion and become the Black College National Champions. And that is exactly what the North Carolina A&T Aggies did on yesterday. It was a good game. Grambling thought they had a crucial turnover to, give them momentum, but it was ruled an incomplete pass. A lot of fans figured that was a fumble. Cartwright looked like he had the ball, and before he actually tucked the ball and started to run, he dropped the ball. He was trying to run with it as he had it in his hands. But when I saw that play, Kills, and when I saw him drop the ball, I was like, oh, fumble. Grambling picks it up, returns it. What did you think when you saw that happen? I mean, what was your reaction?
Well, the thing is that I left before the game was over, so I really didn't catch the last play of the game. When I left, it was an interception. Grambling, it was an interception towards the end, and I'm thinking, well, Grambling's going to end it out. When I saw the final that they had fell behind, so well, I guess they didn't. But I didn't even realize that they had had scored a touchdown. But needless to say, again, your 2017 Black College Football Champions is the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
Right, and they, like I said, they are the kings.
And Tariq was there to witness it. He was there.
Right. And, so they are the kings now. So we're going to have to, someone's going to have to rise up in the SWAC and try to take the celebration trophy, bring it back home to the SWAC. Because even though we talk noise all year long, we want the celebration trophy to stay home in this way. We don't want it over there in the MEAC because we want to be recognized as the premier HBCU football conference in the nation. So right now, North Carolina A&T kind of stole our thunder a little bit. You know, even though I picked North Carolina A&T to win because I just thought they were the better team, I really wanted Grambling to win because I want the trophy to stay home. Even if Alcorn had came back to miraculously beat Grambling as they almost did in the SWAC championship game, I would have wanted Alcorn to win. Oh, Lord, bless me. I'm actually saying I want Alcorn to win because I want the celebration trophy to remain home in my home conference. But unfortunately,
well, I'm
I
totally
didn't get my
different.
wish.
I have no bias. Yeah, I don't have any bias to conferences. I really didn't care. If you go to the MEAC, it goes to the MEAC. I really have no biases to where it goes. I really don't, because at the end of the day, I just really wanted to go to the best coach, and in this case, you know, it just went to the better team. So, but we are at the end of the show.
Yep.
We are at the very end. It is the holiday season. So guess what, folks? 2 weeks, we are going to be gone because next week is Christmas. The week after is New Year's Eve. So guess what? We are gone for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, so we won't be back until, what, January 7th?
New Year.
Oh.
We'll be back on January 7th.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in to Black College Experience. We want to thank Coach Shine for calling in and talking to him about himself, talking about the Lady Marauders basketball squad, a team that we will be following for the rest of the basketball season. I want to congratulate Grambling and North Carolina A&T. Double congratulations to North Carolina A&T for winning the Celebration Bowl and becoming the Black College National Champion. Both teams had very successful seasons, but there could be only one, I can't remember the name of the movie right now, Highlander. There can be only one Black College National Champion, that is the Aggies. For Derek Thomas down here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And before we go, congratulations to everybody, all athletes. Or everyone that graduated from college this weekend. I did talk to Kincaid earlier. He's actually going to walk in May. So congratulations in advance to him being able to go ahead and walk in May. Tremendous job. But like I said, congratulations to all of these athletes that graduated. I mean, I got Danny, got Aaron, got Austin. So congratulations again to every athlete. And that's it, folks. We'll see y'all in the new year.
All right. Peace out.
Shutterstock Music.